Hello guys, so I hope you are at home very safe and I'm hoping that you are studying as well. So thinking that your exam is going on, now when I say that exam is going on, well, meaning each and everyone should write the exam on yourself. Now that you are at home, don't use the electronic gadgets. Okay, so be genuine to yourself. Test is not for you to see yourself like best scoring and all. That is secondary. Test is mainly for you to understand where you are standing. That's the point. Okay, so when you are checking your stand correctly, automatically you will score the best. Okay, so hoping that you are following the same. Fine. Now, so let's move to the next topic. We have spoken about the chemical properties and physical properties, and there is one such one chemical reaction that we have to look for, that is reaction with ammonia. So here is the point. So reactions with ammonia. Now we all know like ammonia is NH3 formula, and this can be existing in either liquid form or dry ammonia. With liquid ammonia the reactions are different, with dry ammonia the reactions are different. Okay, so first talking about the liquid ammonia. So when you see about the liquid ammonia, any metal, that all the metals dissolves in liquid ammonia, but they do not liberate hydrogen gas. Okay, so hydrogen gas liberation అనేది జరగదు. Any metal when reacts with ammonia, they dissolve in it, just like sugar. Okay, what is that? Suppose I have a tumbler of water. Let's say 2 tumblers of water. So when I drop here in this NaCl, what will happen? When I drop here in this sugar, or let's say glucose C6H12O6, what will happen? So this NaCl when dropped, what will happen? This C6H12O6 when dropped, what will happen? First, number one, will both of them dissolve in water? Yes or no? Common sense should tell you that both of them should dissolve in water. Okay, if anybody is thinking sir this will not dissolve, no, you're wrong. This also will dissolve in water, but the differences between their dissolution we have to understand. In this case, what you observe, this when dropped in water, they break down. I already said they break down as what? Na plus and Cl minus, and this Na plus ions will be surrounded by layers and layers of water molecules. This Cl minus will be surrounded by layers and layers of water molecules. That's how we say dissolution has taken place, or we say like salt has been dissolved in water by this way. Whereas if you take this glucose or fructose or sugar, okay, so when you drop this glucose inside the water, they do not break as C hydrogen and oxygen ions separately. C minus 4 or plus 4 or H plus and O minus 2, they do not break like this. They do not. The size of the particles becomes so small that they occupy the intermolecular spaces of water. One more time. In this case, what we observe is the ions are broken down, and then these ions will be settling into the intermolecular spaces of water in this case. Whereas in this case, they do not break into ions. They as it is, like size, hardly the molecules get separated, and the molecule C6H12O6, all the C6H12O6 together will be occupying in the empty spaces of water. Okay, so that's the basic difference between this. Now this also we call it as dissolution, this also we call it as dissolution. We say like sugar dissolved in water or glucose dissolved in water, salt dissolved in water. But nevertheless, here breaking onto ions, here no breakage of ions. So same way, when the reaction with liquid ammonia is something like this case. Okay, so reaction with ammonia is something like this case. Okay, so you will observe that the molecules are just broken down and they occupy the empty spaces. So that's why they dissolve in liquid ammonia but do not liberate any hydrogen gas. Chemical reaction అనేది జరగదు అన్నమాట. Okay, it's like physically they have changed their shapes and then got into the spaces, empty spaces. Whereas in case of dry ammonia, if you talk about dry ammonia, metals readily reacts with ammonia, that is metal on reacting with ammonia will form MnH2. This is called as amines plus liberation of hydrogen gas. So it is chemically reacting and then dissolves also. Here just dissolves but no liberation of hydrogen gas. Then the dissolved solution is generally blue color. Blue and red in the right, blue in this blue. Let's take blue itself. Where is the blue? Hoping that this is blue. Yeah. So it is of what color? Blue color solution. Now why is it blue color solution? We have already studied in the last class that for some species to exhibit color ఎప్పుడైనా సరే ఎందుకు ఎగ్జిబిట్ చేస్తాయంటే there must be free electrons. Those free electrons excite and de-excite. For example, you look my shirt colorful because of this is made up of a polymer. Okay, so it contains many atoms. So those atoms have free electrons and those free electrons absorbs the visible region lo nunchi they absorb the energy and they excite and then de-excite. So when they excite and de-excite, the energy is released. Okay, excuse me. Alright, so the dissolved solution is generally of what? Blue color. Now the reason the color is because of the excitation de-excite. So what exactly happens is this metal, we know that this metal, any metal that we use, for example sodium or potassium, rubidium, any metal, what is their nature? Metal's tendency is to lose electrons. How many electrons? 1 electron. Now this M plus will be reacting with the liquid ammonia, like let's say some X moles of liquid ammonia. It will form a complex compound. Okay, so this kind of metal surrounded by ammonium molecules, that kind of molecules, they are called as complex compounds or complex molecules, and they are what charged? Positively charged. Similarly, the charge is not left, the charge is still there, and these electrons, the electrons that are liberated, it is not like one sodium atom or one metal atom. There are many millions and trillions of atoms, and those metal atoms will liberate more and more metal ions and huge number of electrons. Those electrons are surrounded by again the ammonia, and we call it as solvated electrons. Solvated electrons. In other words, the electrons will be present in the solution. Okay, solvated electrons. So this is what happening. Now on a whole, these electrons are responsible for the blue color. The electrons are free enough to excite and de-excite and exhibit color. Okay, so the point is the color is understood. Now coming back to this. So they are dash conductors of electricity. So by this, what do you expect? What do you expect the nature of the, if there are free electrons, what do you expect about their conductivity? Free electrons unnai ante, should they show good conductors character or bad conductor character? Of course it is. They are good conductors of electricity. Free electrons or solvated electrons are present to keep moving. When they keep moving, they are acting like a carriers of current. Then the strong reducing, they have the strong reducing properties. So what do you say about the strong reducing properties? All these fellows, like these metal atoms have released loss of electrons. The other day, if I have told about the electrons, oxidation and reduction. Okay, reducing property means reducing nature. These have reducing nature. Okay, it will help in reduction. Okay, so the metal is losing out electron. Loss of electrons is called as oxidation. That is itself undergoing oxidation, but helps in reduction. So it is helping in reduction. That means it is a good reducing agent, or they show reducing properties. Fine. So these solvated electrons are responsible for that. Then the solution is dash magnetic. So guess, think. You should have answered by this. Free electrons are available. Free electrons are available. So unpaired electrons are there. So it should be paramagnetic or diamagnetic. Those who have answered, very good. Those who have not answered, still keep thinking. They are what? Paramagnetic in nature. Then on heating the solution, the color changes. Yeah, this is the most important point. On heating the solution, this solution, whatever the solution we have got, when you heat them, they change the color to bronze. Okay, so bronze color, like bronze appearance, you will be having it in the solution. So that's all about reaction with liquid ammonia. One more time, with the liquid ammonia, any metal dissolves in liquid ammonia, but do not liberate hydrogen gas. And the dissolved solution is blue in color. The reason blue in color because of there are free electrons or solvated electrons. Not only solvated electrons, even these ions are also responsible for the excitation and de-excitation of behavior. Okay. Then there are good conductors of electricity, the strong reducing properties. The solution is paramagnetic. Paramagnetic is because of what? Unpaired electrons. That is the free electrons. Then on heating the solution, color changes from blue to bronze. On the other hand, I forgot to say. So they form complex compounds. It is very much visible. Like this is what I say. Like how they exist as complex compounds means it is. You have a separate chapter in 12th standard by the name complex compounds. I am just giving you an idea. So this metal will be surrounded by ammonia. See, if you draw the structure of ammonia also, we know like nitrogen has got with 3 hydrogens, 1, 2, 3, and a lone pair of electrons is present. This is what you should have studied in 10th standard about the structure of ammonia. NH3 with a lone pair such that its octet is satisfied. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this bond represents 2 electrons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So on a whole, octet is satisfied. So this NH3, this lone pair, NH3, the lone pair is donated to this metal atom which is containing empty orbitals. So like that, we have many ammonia molecules that is donated to form the dative bonds. This kind of bonds we call it as what? This type of bonds is called as dative bonds, which is also called as, then standard again, coordinate covalent bond. Coordinate covalent bond. What is a coordinate covalent bond? It's a kind of bond where the electron pair is donated and then shared. This is the electron pair that is donated to this metal atom and also shared. So that's why we represent by an arrow mark. Coordinate covalent bond is always represented by an arrow mark. The tail end represents electron rich one and the arrow mark represents electron deficient one. Or we can also say the tail end represents the donor atom or donor and arrow mark represents acceptor. Okay, so such a type of bond formed between ammonia and the metal atom is called as coordinate covalent bond. Like this, all the molecules, ammonia molecules surrounds this central metal atom. Such a complex is called as complex compound. Alright, so on a whole, the detailed study about this one will have a separate chapter. So they form complex compounds. It is very much visible. See the metal atom surrounded by ammonia. X represents about how many molecules are there, how many moles are there. Okay. Then they also form amalgams. What are amalgams? Amalgams are nothing but the alloys of sodium, potassium with mercury. Okay, not just with mercury, with metals. They intermix to form homologous, or we can call it strong metals. Okay, which is comprising of 2 or more. Generally, we will see mostly with mercury. Okay, so these are called as what? Amalgams. Fine. Then with dry ammonia. So I hope with liquid ammonia these things are clear. With dry ammonia. Now with dry ammonia, all the metals react with the ammonia, but They liberate hydrogen gas. And what do they form? They form amides. For example, if I have sodium plus NH3 will form NaNH2. Sodamide plus hydrogen gas is liberated. One of the important reactions everyone should know of. Okay? Sodium reacts with ammonia. Which ammonia? Dry ammonia. With liquid ammonia, will there be any chemical reaction? No. So look carefully whether it is of liquid ammonia or dry ammonia. The questions are. Okay? Very important. Easy topic, and if you understand once, that's it. You can score the marks just like that in the inorganic. So sodium plus ammonia will form sodium amide plus hydrogen gas, provided this should be what? Dry ammonia. Same goes with potassium, rubidium and all. Then important point is this. This metal amide, this NaNH2, on reacting with cold water, it forms metal hydroxide, that is NaOH, plus it will regenerate the vapors of ammonia. So this example is also important. So just make a note of this one. Most important reaction is this. These two are most important reactions. So you must be knowing these two reactions. I've just generalized. M stands for any metal. Okay, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. Fine. And these are the reactions that you must know. And apart from that, nothing else. Fine. So just note this down. Alright, so hope it is understood clear. Very important as well. Now let's move to the next one. That is oxysalts. So the nature of oxysalts, we have various see the name itself is giving you the picture. Oxysalt. So oxysalts form avali ante, what are the possibilities is, we have the metals reacting with these are called as oxy acids. They are all the H2CO3, carbonic acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, all these things are acids and they contain oxygen, so they are called as oxy acids. So metal on reacting with the oxy acids will form. Now before I write the reaction, again as I said, first anticipate the product, guess change, blind guess change. So sodium plus H2SO4 for example, let's say like Na to this now. Suppose I am writing sodium plus H2SO4. I am sure you know this. Don't just wait for me to answer. Do answer first of all. I hope you have answered. So sodium sulfate Na2SO4 plus what is gone? What is left over? Hydrogen gas. So can I write that metal on reacting with sulfuric acid will form metal sulfate of this formula Na2SO4 plus hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay. So on a whole, this is the point I wanted you to understand, and I'm erasing this. I don't want this. Alright. So what about this one? Metal plus nitric acid will form what? Same reaction. Metal plus nitric acid will form metal nitrate. But here should I write M2NO3? No, this is wrong. Sir, here you wrote M2SO4. I wrote M2SO4 because sulfate is what charge? SO4 is -2 charge. Nitrate on the other hand, NO3 -1. Now a question, sir, what should I write for which one it is -1, for which one it is -2? These things is the basic thing. You must be knowing that sulfates will always be having -2 charge. And in fact, if you wanted to take the structure, you can also do like this. Only by structures you can also understand, like sulfate S, double bonded oxygen, OO minus minus. So SO4 -2. Okay. Same way you can also explain that oxidation state of NO3 will be coming out to be -1. The charge is coming out to be -1. Alright. So now, as if now information, if you do not know, take it as an information, but you must be knowing. You are in 11th. So metal nitrates, formula is not that. Then what should be the formula? Metals, any metals, alkali metals, charge is what? +1. Nitrate charge is what? NO3 -1. So crisscross, what do you get? MnO3 plus what else should be there? Hydrogen gas as usual. And metal plus carbonic acid, same thing, metal carbonate. Now, should I write M2CO3 or should I write MCO3? Question again. Good that some of you might have answered that it is M2CO3. Why? Again, carbonate is always CO3 -2 plus hydrogen gas is liberated. Now, these are called as oxyacids and these are called as oxysalts. Oxysalts. So sodium sulfate or potassium sulfate, sodium nitrate, potassium nitrate. Now here we study about the oxysalts. That is, what are the alkali metals? Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, right? Out of these, one element we will not study the properties of. Which is that element? You will not study the properties of oxysalts. Yes, I am sure that you have answered. Not lithium, because lithium has a very peculiar behavior matching with magnesium. Apart from this, sodium, magnesium, rubidium, cesium, they exhibit the similar properties. Alright, so next, the first one, that is, we are starting with carbonates and bicarbonates. Two main things with respect to carbonates are formed when one of this, like for example, let me say sodium on treating with H2CO3, when all the hydrogens are replaced, then we have what? Na2CO3 plus H2. Bicarbonates are formed when only one of the hydrogens are replaced, that is Na plus H2CO3 on reacting will form NaHCO3 plus hydrogen gas. Okay, in fact, we have to balance this. I am not balancing it. Now here partial hydrogens are removed off and then I have got sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so HCO3 charge is what? -1. Sodium charge is what? +1. So when you crisscross, NaHCO3. Okay, so metal bicarbonate. Fine. So complete hydrogens are replaced, partial hydrogen, that is not all hydrogens are liberated, but one of the few of the hydrogens are liberated and we get the bicarbonates. Then, so apart from this, as usual, what are the carbonates? Like in case if we have sodium, potassium, rubidium, the formulas are respectively this. Na2CO3, K2CO3, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. Okay, so these are the formulas of carbonates. Similarly, sodium bicarbonate, potassium bicarbonate, rubidium bicarbonate and cesium bicarbonate. The formulas are those. Then properties. In terms of their properties, let's understand this. All are soluble in water. They are all soluble in water. Here also, metal bicarbonates, they are also all are soluble in water. Both of them, they are soluble in water. What is the difference then? In fact, they are soluble and they chemically react with each other and forms metal carbonate plus water will form metal hydroxide plus carbonic acid, which is a reversible reaction. Okay, for example, I have sodium carbonate Na2CO3 on treating with water, it will form NaOH plus H2CO3. Now, we know that NaOH is an alkali, strong acid, strong base, strong alkali, and H2CO3 is a weak acid, carbonic acid we call. H2CO3 is called as what? Carbonic acid. So both of them, acid plus base, acid plus base, together will form salt and water. So this is my salt and water. So it's a reversible reaction. On the other hand, this one, when you look, metal bicarbonate on reacting so metal bicarbonate on reacting with water, it just forms metal hydroxide as it is plus H2CO3, that is weak acid again. Hope I have made you understood. But this is not, this time it is not a reversible one. With bicarbonates, it just forms hydroxide and carbonic acid. Then, they exist in solid crystals. Yes, you take sodium or potassium carbonates. If some of you have observed in your 9th, 8th or 10th standards, these crystals, they exist as what? Crystalline in nature, solid crystals. This also exists as solid crystals. Then, metal carbonates on heating, no reaction. Most important question, it has been asked, I think, twice or thrice in the previous papers. So M2CO3, that is no reaction. On heating, there is no reaction. Or we write it as it does not decompose. Metal carbonates does not decompose on heating. They do not decompose on heating. Whereas metal bicarbonate, when you heat them, it will form metal carbonate plus water plus carbon dioxide. So when you just heat this, what are possible compounds that they come out? In fact, carbonic acid on heating H2CO3. This is nothing but carbonic acid. So on heating, they break down into the respective molecules, that is H2O and CO2. Okay, so heat, what does heat do? Heat does nothing but breaking the bonds. So I have H2O plus CO2 released. Okay, fine. Then here we have got one exception, that is, as I already said, with lithium. Lithium carbonate, metal carbonates do not decompose on heating, but lithium carbonate decomposes. It decomposes as lithium oxide. Is it LiO or La2O or La2O2 or LiO2? La2O. Lithium normal oxide. Lithium does not form peroxide, does not form superoxide as well. Plus, what else? Carbon dioxide gas is released. Okay. On the other hand, with this one, lithium carbonate. See, it first converts to lithium carbonate and again breaks down as this one. Okay. So just make a note of this. Alright, fine. So now the last thing, that is metal nitrates and metal sulfates. So how is this metal nitrates formed? I said already, metal plus nitric acid will form metal nitrate plus liberating hydrogen gas. So in all the cases, for the formation of salts, hydrogen gas is liberated. Fine. So that is examples. If you look, sodium nitrate, NaNO3, potassium nitrate, KNO3, rubidium nitrate, RbNO3, cesium nitrate, CsNO3, and they are ionic crystals. What do you mean by ionic crystals? Just like NaCl, Na plus, Cl minus. One is positive, other is negative. Same way, these mainly they exist as sodium nitrate, especially, that is Na plus and NO3 minus. So such a existence is called as ionic crystals. They are crystalline in nature, but they are of what? Ionic crystals. On the other hand, they are also crystalline in nature, that is crystalline solids, but they do not exist as ionic. Okay, I don't say they do not exist as ionic. They have both ionic and covalent nature significantly. Whereas here, more significant character is ionic. And here, how you get this metal sulfates also, we have seen metal plus sulfuric acid, H2SO4. Okay, then examples like Na2SO4, K2SO4 and all. Right? So they also exist as what? Crystalline solids. Then they are colorless. Both are colorless and both dissolve are soluble in water. They both are soluble in water. And as far as solubility is concerned, again a slight difference. What is that? In the solubility of water, this one, metal nitrates plus H2SO4, they do not react anything, no chemical reaction. Okay, and when you heat this, I repeat again, sodium nitrate on reacting with water, give the products and ante, look for the option that says no products are formed. Okay, or no reaction. With nitrates on reacting with water, nothing. With nitrates, are they soluble in water? Yes, they are soluble in water. Do they chemically react? No reaction. Same way here, soluble in water. Then metal nitrates on heating will form nitrites. Nitrites. Pay attention. Metal nitrates NO3 forms nitrites, liberating oxygen gas. For example, sodium nitrate NaNO3 on heating will form NaNO2 plus oxygen gas is released. This is called as sodium nitrite. And on the other hand, they form double salts. Now, what is this double salts? For example, we have seen just now complex compound. Same way that is called as addition compound. This is also one of the types of addition compounds where two salts, double salts, two or more salts just combine. Like for example, potassium sulfate A2SO4 dot Al2SO4 thrice dot 24H2O. This is called as alum. Its chemical name is what? Alum. Now, this entire thing is one compound and we call it as what? Double salt. I hope I am making some sense. Double salt. Potassium sulfate is one salt, aluminum sulfate is also one salt. Two of them are together just because of this hydrated, or we call it as hydrated water of hydration, or hydrated crystals. Hydrated crystals. They are hydrated crystals. They are crystalline in nature because of hydration. And this water of crystallization or water of hydration, 24H2O. You must be remembering this. In group 2 and 13th group also will find n number of molecules with the formulas. So whenever you write any formula, say that you revise it then and there. And lastly, we have got with one exception as usual. I have written an exception, and by this time you must be guessing what could be that exception of. Which element in this alkali metal shows an exception of? Under nitrates, as I said. So it is very obvious, lithium nitrate. On heating, lithium nitrate, normally this lithium nitrate, it should form sodium nitrate formed nitrites, but lithium nitrates will form lithium oxide plus nitrogen dioxide. Okay, and this is the chemical reaction that is shown by lithium alone, because apart from this, in fact, few vapors of oxygen is also released. O2 gas is also released. This is because it is similarly to magnesium nitrate, diagonal relationship of this one. Magnesium nitrate will form magnesium oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen gas. So they both are in diagonal relationship. So hence that reaction. So for today we shall stop with this. In the next class we will continue.